Keanu the unseen owner. When the waiter mocked Keanu Reeves, not knowing the billionaire held the keys, the rain lashed against the floor-to-ceiling windows of Viridian, transforming the Los Angeles skyline into a shimmering, impressionist painting of blurred lights. Inside, the air hummed with a different kind of electricity, the low thrum of privilege, power, and meticulously curated exclusivity. Crystal chandeliers cast diamond patterns on polished ebony floors. The scent of truffle oil, dry-aged beef, and expensive perfume mingled into an intoxicating, almost oppressive bouquet. At table 7, nestled in a coveted corner with a panoramic view of the storm-washed city, Marcus Bellwether held court. Marcus wasn't just a waiter. He was Viridian's gatekeeper, a self-appointed arbiter of who belonged in this rarefied atmosphere. At 28, he possessed an unnerving ability to assess net worth, social standing, and perceived importance within seconds of a guest's arrival. His uniform, a bespoke charcoal suit, crisp white shirt, and a tie the exact shade of deep burgundy as the restaurant and signature wine, was worn like armor. His smile was a calibrated instrument, warm and obsequious for the right people, chillingly polite or subtly dismissive for those he deemed less. He was polishing already immaculate reedal crystal when the entrance doors whispered open, admitting a gust of damp air and a solitary figure. Keanu Reeves shook water from his dark, shoulder-length hair, his simple black motorcycle jacket dripping onto the priceless Persian rug. Beneath it, a faded band t-shirt and well-worn jeans completed a look utterly alien to Viridian's gilded cage. He looked ordinary. Tired, perhaps, like a man seeking shelter from the storm. Not a titan inhabiting his domain. Marcus's practiced smile froze, then reformed into something thinner, cooler. His internal radar screamed, anomaly. No reservation flashed in his mind for this disheveled walk-in. No entourage, no visible trappings of wealth. Just a guy. A guy who looked like he'd wandered in from a downtown dive bar. Marcus's spine stiffened. Viridian didn't cater to walk-ins, especially not on a Saturday night booked solid with industry power players and old money dynasties. "Good evening," Marcus intoned, gliding towards Keanu with the silent grace of a shark. His voice was smooth, but devoid of warmth. "Do you have a reservation, sir?" The "sir" felt like a formality, a placeholder for a less polite term bubbling beneath the surface. Keanu met Marcus's assessing gaze with his own calm, slightly weary one. No. Didn't realize I needed one just for..." He gestured vaguely towards the mostly empty bar area. "Maybe just a quiet corner at the bar? A drink and something simple?" Marcus's internal alarm blared louder. "Just for something simple?" This confirmed his initial suspicion. An interloper. A tourist, maybe, drawn by the Michelin stars but oblivious to the unspoken rules. A slight, almost imperceptible sneer touched Marcus's lips. "I'm afraid, sir," he said, his voice dripping with condescension now, barely masked by faux regret. "Viridian operates on a strictly reservation-only basis. Our bar seating is also reserved well in advance, particularly on evenings like this. We cater to a particular clientele." He let the implication hang heavy in the air. "Not you." Keanu blinked, unfazed by the hostility. He glanced around the near-empty bar stools. "Looks like there's space right there." He pointed to two clearly unoccupied seats. Marcus didn't even follow the gesture. "Appearances can be deceiving, sir. Those are held for valued patrons with standing arrangements." He took a subtle step forward, subtly herding Keanu back towards the entrance. "Perhaps," he suggested, his tone laced with mocking helpfulness, "one of the bistros down the street? They might be more accommodating to spontaneous diners." He emphasized spontaneous like it was a contagious disease, a flicker of something, not anger, but perhaps weary disappointment, passed through Keanu's eyes. He opened his mouth to speak, then seemed to think better of it. He simply nodded, a small, quiet movement. "All right. Thanks anyway." He turned, the damp shoulders of his jacket sagging slightly, and pushed back out into the downpour. Marcus watched him go, a curl of satisfaction twisting his lips. Crisis averted. He smoothed his tie, the brief encounter reinforcing his sense of control, his role as protector of Viridian's sanctum. He returned to table 7, his smile instantly transforming into radiant warmth as he described the intricacies of the black truffle risotto to a socialite dripping in diamonds. The incident with the disheveled nobody was already forgotten. A minor blip on an otherwise flawless service. The kitchen was a controlled hurricane. Stainless steel gleamed under harsh lights. Sizzling pans, shouted orders, the rhythmic chop of knives. It was a symphony of pressure. Marcus pushed through the swinging doors, his face pale. "Chef!" he hissed, grabbing Laurent's arm as the renowned chef plated a masterpiece of microgreens and seared scallops. "Table 14? The Reeves guy. He ordered pad thai, and he's saying things, acting like he owns the place." Laurent, a bear of a man with fierce eyes and a surprisingly gentle touch with food, paused. He looked at Marcus, then slowly wiped his hands on his apron. "Marcus," he said, his French accent thick, his voice dangerously quiet. "What did you do?" "He walked in off the street. Looked like a drowned rat. I told him we were reservation only. Then he waltzes in the back, says he talked to you, orders pad thai, and has the gall to lecture me on refinement." Marcus's voice was shrill with panic and indignation. Laurent closed his eyes for a second, pinching the bridge of his nose. When he opened them, they held a mixture of pity and simmering anger. "Marcus," he said slowly, deliberately, "that drowned rat is Keanu Reeves. He does own Viridian. He owns the building. He owns the company that owns the company that owns half this block." Each word landed like a hammer blow. "He is the single most important person who will ever walk through those doors. And you, mon Dieu, you insulted him at his own table, in his own restaurant." The color drained completely from Marcus's face. The noise of the kitchen seemed to recede, replaced by a high-pitched whine in his ears. The world tilted. Owns the building, owns the company. The truth was monstrous, undeniable. Laurent wouldn't joke about this. The sickening realization crashed over him. He hadn't just insulted a customer, he'd attacked the king in his own castle, with breathtaking stupidity. But he looks," Marcus stammered, unable to articulate the dissonance between the unassuming man and the billionaire owner. "He looks like a man who doesn't need to prove anything to anyone," Laurent snapped. "He looks like a man who values authenticity over pretense. Something you, Marcus, seem to have forgotten." He gestured sharply. "Make the pad thai, perfectly. And pray, mon ami, pray he has more mercy in him than you showed." News spread through the restaurant staff like wildfire. Whispers flew between waiters. Bus boys stared wide-eyed at table 14. The sommelier, who had witnessed Marcus's earlier dismissal at the door, paled dramatically. The atmosphere shifted from one of polished service to one of stunned, fearful anticipation. The storm outside seemed trivial compared to the tempest brewing within Viridian's gilded walls. Marcus mechanically prepared the pad thai, his hands trembling. He plated it with obsessive care, his mind a whirlwind of terror and shame. He carried the dish back to table 14 like it was a live grenade. Keanu was sipping his sparkling water, looking out at the rain-slicked cityscape, seemingly at peace. "Your pad thai, Mr. Reeves?" Marcus stammered, placing the plate down with exaggerated care, unable to meet Keanu's eyes. His earlier arrogance was replaced by cringing deference. Keanu looked at the dish, then up at Marcus. "Thank you, Marcus." His voice was neutral. He picked up his chopsticks. Marcus hovered, wringing his hands. Mr. Reeves, sir, I owe you the most profound apology. I had no idea. I was inexcusably rude. The words tumbled out, desperate and hollow. Keanu took a bite, chewed thoughtfully. He didn't look at Marcus. The food is excellent, as always. Laurent's grandmother would be proud. He took another bite, savoring it. The silence stretched, agonizing for Marcus. Keanu finally put his chopsticks down and looked at him. Not with anger, but with a deep, unsettling calm. Marcus, why do you work here? The question caught Marcus off guard. To provide exceptional service. To be part of something elite. Elite, Keanu repeated softly. Does that mean making people feel small? Does it mean judging them by their jackets? He gestured around. This place, the food, the wine, it's all just stuff. Beautiful, delicious stuff, but stuff. What makes it matter? What gives it any real value is the people. The ones who grow the food, cook it, serve it, and the ones who come here hoping for a good experience. Not a lesson in their own inadequacy. He leaned forward slightly. You saw a wet guy in a band tee and decided he wasn't worthy. You saw someone order pad thai and decided it was beneath you. You wielded this environment, this elite status, like a weapon. What's the profit in that, Marcus? What does that build? Marcus had no answer. He stood there exposed, the foundation of his carefully constructed self-importance crumbling to dust. The glittering chandeliers, the expensive suits at nearby tables, the Michelin stars, they suddenly felt like gaudy props in a play where he disastrously misread his role. Keanu didn't fire Marcus on the spot. He didn't make a scene. He finished his pad thai in contemplative silence, leaving Marcus standing there in his private purgatory. He paid the bill, leaving an obscenely generous tip that felt like another form of quiet judgment, and stood to leave. As he shrugged on his damp jacket, he paused near Marcus, who was practically vibrating with terror. Allah knows my thoughts, Keanu said quietly, his voice barely audible over the restaurant's ambient noise. We'll speak tomorrow. Think about what you want to build, Marcus. Is it walls, or is it tables where everyone feels welcome? He walked out, leaving behind a restaurant holding its breath. The moment the doors closed, the dam broke. Staff clustered, whispering frantically. Alain immediately summoned Marcus to his office. The next morning, Marcus arrived at Viridian expecting termination. Instead, he found Keanu Reeves waiting for him, not in the opulent dining room, but in the bustling, steamy kitchen. Keanu was leaning against a stainless steel counter, sipping coffee from a chipped mug, chatting easily with the early prep cooks. He wore jeans and a clean but simple gray sweatshirt. Marcus, Keanu acknowledged him with a nod. No smile, but no overt hostility either. Alain stood nearby, looking stern. Mr. Reeves has decided your future here, Marcus, Alain said, his voice tight. Keanu set his mug down. Firing you would be easy, he stated calmly, but it wouldn't teach you anything. It wouldn't change what happened last night. He looked around the kitchen. You spoke of refinement, Marcus. This, he gestured to the organized chaos of the kitchen, is where the real refinement of Viridian happens. It's hard, hot, relentless work. It requires respect for the ingredients, for the craft, and for each other. He met Marcus's terrified gaze. Effective immediately, you're reassigned. You'll spend the next 3 months working every station in this kitchen. Dish pit, prep, garde-manger, saucier, all of it. You'll report to Chef Laurent and the sous chefs. You'll learn what it truly takes to make this place run. You'll learn humility by getting blisters on your hands and grease in your hair. Marcus's jaw dropped. Dish pit? 3 months? It was a demotion of epic proportions. A public humiliation far worse than being fired. Keanu continued, his voice firm. After that, we'll talk. If you've learned, if you understand that the person washing the dishes is as vital to Viridian as the person ordering the $500 bottle of wine, then maybe there's a place for you here. Maybe not as a front-of-house star, but as someone who understands this place from the ground up. The choice to learn, to change, is yours. He picked up his mug again. Or you can walk away now. The decision is yours, Marcus. Marcus stood paralyzed. The easy escape of termination was gone, replaced by a grueling path to potential redemption. The arrogance that had defined him was shattered. He looked at the steamy dish pit, the mountain of pots already waiting. He looked at Keanu, calm and implacable. He thought of the humiliating whispers, the pitying looks. But he also thought of Keanu's quiet question. "What do you want to build?" Taking a shuddering breath, Marcus nodded, unable to speak. He walked towards the dish pit, the stares of the kitchen staff burning into his back. He picked up a scrubbing brush, the first tool in his long road back. Epilogue. Lessons learned and echoes of kindness. The story inevitably leaked, not through official channels, but through hushed kitchen conversations that found their way onto social media. Fragments coalesced: the arrogant waiter, the unrecognized billionaire owner, the pad thai, the stunning rebuke delivered with unnerving calm, and the unprecedented sentence of kitchen servitude. It went viral faster than the original Judge Judy clip. Headlines screamed, "Waiter roasted Keanu Reeves, then learned he owned the restaurant. Keanu's icy revenge sends snob waiter to dish pit." Billionaire humility. Keanu teaches epic lesson in karma. The public devoured it. Memes exploded. Photos of Keanu in his band tee juxtaposed with images of Marcus scrubbing pots. When you mock the pad thai, but the pad thai owns you. Finding out the quiet guy owns the building. Keanu's calm face became the ultimate reaction image for unexpected power reveals. But the deeper resonance was in Keanu's actions. He hadn't fired Marcus in a blaze of vengeful glory. He'd offered a brutal but potentially transformative lesson. He'd prioritized understanding over punishment, humility over hierarchy. He demonstrated that true power doesn't need to flaunt itself. It can manifest in quiet authority and unexpected mercy. Months later, a food blogger managed to snag a rare photo inside Viridian's kitchen. There, amidst the steam and clatter, was Marcus Bellwether. He was thinner, his hands red and raw, his bespoke suit replaced by kitchen whites. He wasn't at the dish pit anymore, but prepping vegetables at the garde-manger station. He wasn't smiling, but he wasn't scowling either. His focus was intense. And standing beside him, checking the consistency of a sauce, was Keanu Reeves. They weren't talking, but there was no animosity in the frame. Just two men, working. The caption, quoting an anonymous kitchen source, read, "He still flinches when someone orders pad thai, but he makes it perfectly now. And he hasn't sneered at a guest's jacket since the storm." Keanu Reeves, the unseen owner, had once again taught the world a lesson without saying much at all. He proved that the most powerful response to arrogance isn't greater arrogance, but the quiet, unyielding force of humility and the chance, however hard-earned, for redemption. The ripple effect of that rainy night at Viridian continued, a reminder that true class is never about the suit you wear, but the grace you show when you hold all the power and the kindness you offer even to those who least deserve it. The pad thai, incidentally, became Viridian's most requested, and ironically most prestigious, off-menu item